Hello and what is up guys, Arai here and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we are going to be creating a car that's going to compete in a few challenges. Now my vehicle will be going head to head against another automation YouTuber, CanadianSteel's car. If you haven't already checked out his channel, make sure to do so at the end of the video guys. He also makes pretty cool content and he's Canadian, so that's also a plus as well. What kind of car are we going to make? That's probably the biggest question you might be asking yourself. Well, don't fear guys, because we are making the coolest car ever, of course. We're making Toyota Corollas. Nah, I'm just kidding guys. We're making muscle cars, 1970s era American V8 boats. Not those kind of boats, I mean actual cars like the Chevrolet Chevelle, Ford Mustang, and the Plymouth Barracuda. To start off the vehicle itself, we are going to change the model year down to 1970. So it took a few minutes, but I finally decided on what body I want to use for the vehicle. Now I have done in the past, created a muscle car on my channel. I'll put the link to the video down below if you guys want to check that out after, of course. So today we are not going to do the same body style as that. I think it was either this one or this one before, so this, 1965 coupe body. We're going to this 1965 coupe body. So it's more of a muscle car shape instead of like, a coupe with a big V8. It's going to be an actual muscle car performance car. So first thing we're going to choose is all steel panels, of course, monocoque, like pretty much every car was, I think, in the 1970s still, except for, big family barge, I would say, except for, cars that you use on a commercial basis. Most cars, for regular people, were still monocoque, so we'll keep it on monocoque chassis steel. We don't need galvanized or corrosion resistant, it's fine. It's, we're not making a real life car, so this is perfectly okay. Front mounted longitudinal engine, of course, nothing else, and then we're going to have couple options here. So most cars in this day, I'd say even muscle cars or not, or performance cars or not, I'd say most cars, unless they were an actual dedicated sports car, which this is a muscle car, there's a difference guys, look it up, I don't want to explain to you. They use, I'd say, either coils or leaves. I guess some cars use leaves, like I have a classic car, it uses leaves. It's not a muscle car, but it would come with a V8, I guess. So leaves or coils. We're gonna do probably that or maybe McPherson struts. We're gonna do coils in the front, and we'll do, or McPherson struts in the front. We could probably do solid axle coil in the back. Yeah, we'll stick with that. A little bit better performing here, so coils in the rear, struts in the front. It's a bit on the more expensive side and sporty side, but still not out of the realm of realism. Like any good engine, it's going to be a big V8, obviously. We did a 60-degree V8, I think, for the other car. We're going to do another 60-degree V8. But this time it's going to be a bit bigger. We're doing a pushrod cast iron V8 engine, all cast iron of course. This one's going to have a nice big stroke. It's going to be a massive engine. We do have a size limit. Size limit is 7 liters for the engine, so we can't have a four-wheel drive, that's fine. I'm going to do an exactly 7 liter, about a 7 liter engine. 6.99 liter engine, so it is basically a 7 liter engine. And what that translates to is 427 cubic inches, which is the size they would have used back in the day. I'd say up until, what was it, probably the 80s, until they switched over to metric. Most people used cubic inches of a vehicle. For engine size, at least you'd have a 200 cubic inch engine, a 302 cubic inch, a 454 cubic inch, etc. So this is a 427 big block engine, what you would call it. We're going to do all cast iron just to start here. We might actually change the forge just because, it's going to be realistic-ish, obviously. But it needs some performance to back it up as well. Top end, we'll put that up just a bit to 60 to start. No turbos, obviously. We're going to go carbureted. We're going to go 4-barrel. We're going to go, we have 2 options here. Lots of muscle cars, like DCOE, which is like a race carburetor setup. Didn't really exist on vehicles outside of race cars. I'm not going to use that because it didn't really exist on vehicles outside of race cars or probably extreme performance vehicles for the street. What we're going to do is a 6-pack or 3 2-barrel carbs, so you have 6 valves in total. The 6-pack carburetor system performance. And we're going to do regular just to start off. I might change this to like an 8-pack, we'll see. Or, 2 4-barrel carburetors, so you have 8 valves in total. Long tubular exhaust, dual of course. We're gonna have just 1 muffler. You gotta have, we'll have a breakthrough second muffler. That sounds fine to start. I'm not gonna, start the engine yet for you here. We're gonna actually tune the engine first. So right now it's making a whopping 33 horsepower and 42.2 pound-feet of torque. That's enough to power a Honda Civic to probably 30 miles an hour, so we need a better engine than that. We're going to lower the ignition timing and increase the fuel mixture just a bit. 13 to 1. And we're going to put the... Oh yeah, the compression is way too high for any car this era. 8 to 8.5 is, I'd say, I'd consider high for any American vehicle. We're going to increase the cam profile until we stop getting valve float, because we were getting valve float. Yeah, we are still getting valve. Let's actually lower this down to 5,000 RPM. We can lower this down just a bit. Lots of torque. Look at that torque. So we did have a horsepower limit on our engines of about 350-ish. So of course I'm going to shoot for the highest horsepower I can. But there's no limit on torque, so I'm just going to throw gobs of torque at it. We're going to actually increase. Do that. And valve float's a bit of valve flow. We can actually probably... See, I don't want to increase the quality sliders if I don't have to. I don't think we can. So I'm just leave it stock. We're going to leave it completely as is. We can increase the exhaust size for sure though. And the engine is barely coping with the amount of horsepower I already have. Let's... Alright, so we're losing horsepower, even though we have valve float. You can get 340 horsepower right here, and the timing goes up. Hope any more than that. 39, 37, 35, 340, it's close. 341. I mean, if we took off the muffler, we'd have a bit more, but... So what I'm going to do is, skip ahead a few minutes while I actually tune the engine, and then I'll go over, for a quick second just to tell you what I did, and then we'll continue on in the car. I'll see you guys in 1 sec. Alright guys, now before we listen to the engine, I'm just going to go over what I did on the engine itself to get it to where it's at. As you can tell, it's got 340 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque. Yeah, I actually didn't really do anything on the car itself. The engine, I can't really get over 340 horsepower unless I start moving sliders up, which is something we're not allowed to do, or if I want to increase it to maybe a 4-barrel, 8-pack setup, we can probably get a bit more horsepower out of that. But I like the 6-pack setup we got right now. Regular fuel, of course, non-leaded, because who uses leaded gas? And anyways, 1 muffler, long tubular header exhaust. The only thing I actually changed was I think I decreased the cam profile by 1, so just down to 62. And then I just decreased the exhaust quality slider by -1. So why did I decrease it by -1? Well, because it made an uneven amount of horsepower and torque. It made 341 horsepower and 415 torque. That's not acceptable, guys. You know me. It's not acceptable. It's gonna have even numbers. So 340 horse, 415 torque. This thing is going to be a burnout machine. Now let's listen to the engine just for a second and see how it sounds. You guys heard it first. It is a pretty good sounding engine. The only thing I'm going to change, actually, I think we can decrease the RPM limit just a bit. The 4,500 RPM is where it's going to peak at now. Because after that, we do get the valve float and stuff, and we want to keep up other stats as well. I want to make it, kind of a realistic car. 5,000 is around the highest. Most cars would go in the 1970s. I mean, there wasn't actually RPM limiters on, I don't think, any engines, actually. But, most couldn't really run over 5,000. So... continue on to the car itself here, so we'll go to the actual body. Of course, it's going to be a 2-door car, and I'm just going to go through all the stuff of the vehicle first before designing it, and we'll have a time-lapse, like always, of me designing the vehicle. The drivetrain going to be a 5-speed manual. This is one of the areas we're actually going to splurge in the car, is a 5-speed manual gearbox, which is probably quite uncommon for most cars in the 1970s, besides high-performance cars. This is a 427 or 7-liter, or 427 cubic inch or 7-liter engine that we're making. This thing is a very high performance machine, and we're going to do a automatic locking differential, which I'm sure you can get locking differentials on some cars in the 1970s. I'm not sure how much cars though, but I'm sure there is 1 or 2. It'll be fine. Most cars come with cross-ply or radio. We're going to do radio because this is an expensive vehicle back at the time. Even it's not going to be a cheap car. It's going to be a high performance car. 285s in the rear, 185s in the front. That's not going to do. We're going to change that a bit. So a bit bigger in the front, a bit wider front end, 215, a little bit wider. 225, which it would have been quite wide for any front tire in the 1970s. And the rear could do 295 actually. We're going to lower it down to 275 and space it out a bit. Not that much. Yeah, we'll leave it like that. In real life, I mean, cars don't really... 1970s tires didn't really stick out like they do today. Like, they're not like flush with the body panel. We're going to do magnesium wheels, which actually did happen in some cars in the 1970s, 80s, 90s, etc. I don't know about the 90s. But magnesium wheels were a thing in the things other than race cars. So we can go alloy, we can go steel. Magnesium is something I'm going to splurge on as well. We're going to save some weight there. We're going to save like 10 pounds overall, which is, you know, a lot of weight, obviously. Not really, but it helps. Discs in the front, biggest discs possible. And we're going to increase the pad to a little bit of 50 for now. No undercoating at all. We're going to do a 5-seater. We'll do a 4-seater. You know, it's a 2+2 coupe. We're going to do a sporty interior with a basic AM radio, so it's going to be realistic as well. Hydraulic power steering, which would have been an option. And the best safety, like I like to do. Progressive springs, gas tube mono, so a bit expensive on the suspension side, and we're going to do sport. So it's at 6, very, very low ride height. We're going to increase that, actually. Severe wheel spin issues, yeah, that's going to happen. It's going to happen a bit. Increases to 9 inches. Ish. And I might tune the suspension around as well. I'm actually going to, you know, tune this car quite a bit before we bring it into BeamNG to test it out the first time at least, and then for the competition, off of forces, be tuned quite a bit. So what I'm going to do now is do all the fine tuning for the vehicle as much as I can right now anyways, and also design the car. So I'm going to do a time lapse of that. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Finally, it is complete, guys. The 1970 SuperCoupe Bandit 427. Of course, this is the Maven SuperCoupe Bandit 427, or just the Bandit, whatever you want to call it, or the 427 SuperCoupe. I don't know. This is Maven's flagship 1970s coupe. Of course, it is, you know, their performance vehicle with a 427 cubic inch V8 engine with 340 horse, and then I think it was 415 pound-feet of torque. Yes, I was right. So I did change a few things off camera while I wasn't actually doing the design of the car and the tweaks and stuff, just the things I thought of after. So I went and gave it a quick test drive on BeamNG.Drive, and it didn't handle the best. Oh, it handled actually really good. The handling was actually great for the car. I changed the gearing just to 70, the spacing to 75 from 65 because it was a little bit long, and whenever you shift it, it bogged down a bit. So I want to make the gears just a bit shorter. Top speed 240 is actually a bit high for the vehicle, but like it's fine. So let's quickly go over the design and some other things that I changed outside of the time lapse for the design. So let's start at the front here. So we have a nice big grille attached to the headlights. It's actually not a grille. Right here is just some black plastic or black trim or whatever you want to call it. Two big circle headlights, of course black outlining. This is the high performance model. Of course, the theme is black and green, and some chrome thrown in there because, you know, what 1970s car doesn't have some chrome? So we got some big grills here, dual headlights, like I said, some stripes down the side or the middle, I guess. Big scoop here with like a little bit of an accent. I don't know what that is. Looks cool, sure. You got a center grill as well, a very small center grill, and this is just for the high performance model. Every other trim will just have the regular grill. I'm not gonna make any other trim, you know, hypothetically speaking, guys. We have two big intakes underneath the main grills as well. This is again for the high performance trim, and the stripe actually comes down through here onto past these little intakes and stuff, so it actually continues just down to here. Goes all the way along the whole body. We got the turn signals actually integrated into the front bumper, which probably isn't legal, you know, for crash reasons, but we're gonna do it anyways because it's fine. It looks good. Let's just assume there was a way for Maven Motors to get illegal. Let's just assume that. Lastly, near the front bottom here, so we have the nice big slitter here. There's actually two slitters, one on top of another. That's a little bit of a glitch, but that's fine. So the stripe, of course, we can see goes all the way down the car, all the way down to the other side. Going to the side of the car, we have some muscle car, some 1970s muscle car wheels. I can't remember what car these are off of. Maybe probably some sort of Plymouth, I guess. I don't know. We have the 427 badging on the side with some, you know, vents and a nice little trim piece on the side and stuff. And going around the side, so we have a, you know, chrome door handle, chrome window trim, and then see these stripes here. These stripes are actually a hood scoop. That's what actually goes up a bit, which I kind of like that. I kind of like how it just goes up a bit. The roof line looks a little bit more smooth because of that, up until this point, but that's fine. And then to compensate in the middle, so it wasn't just like a ridge from the front, I actually added another hood bulge, actually two hood bulges or even out. You can't really tell it's there. Up top you can sort of see some of the lines and stuff. And up front it looks perfectly fine. And right here as well, so it's of course the big scoop. And then, so this is where it gets inspired by some different vehicles. So the front is a little bit of Ford Torino, like you know, the Ford 427 Cobra Torino. A little bit of design from there, and then also some Plymouth Barracuda or Cuda design from certain years. So it's got a bit of design from everything. I didn't copy a vehicle. I just started making this and I just went with the design. The color is actually very, you know, Plymouth-like as well. It's just really bright green. I like it a lot. It suits the car. Definitely some sort of 1970s muscle car color. Black trim on the side, like more like a side skirt-ish trim on the side. And again, at the rear end, so we have a nice huge wing. You know, again, like a Plymouth, like the Roadrunner or the Dodge Daytona. Yeah, Dodge Daytona, I think. So big wing. You know, you can't have a car without a big wang. And then the taillights are, again, very Ford-like. I actually did copy the taillights from Ford. I'm like, yeah, what taillights would look good in this body? I looked it up. I'm like, yeah, I think these look pretty good. They are massive, though. A lot bigger than the actual Ford's taillights. And I'm just going to change this to an orange, because it's got to be an orange. There we go. That'll work. So we have the small turn signal. Tons of real estate in the back here for brake lights and, you know, running lights. It's massive. I don't know why it's effective, but it's there. And we have the nice little, you know, little back end reflector kind of thing. We have the reflector / reverse light. Of course, it works great. The Bandit logo right here, so the big Bandit font, and then we have the Maven crest with a little bit of a circle ring around it. And again, the trim with the bulge at the back, which you can't really tell. And the last elements of the car are the little black trim piece at the bottom, the license plate, which black spine probably for that, sure, and then the you know, the chrome exhaust, of course. I really wish there was more exhaust automation. The devs, please make more. Please, I don't have to get mods. Last things about the car. So something that I also changed in the time lapse is I made all the trim like actual chrome instead of my own custom. I guess not really custom, but my own, you know, midnight chrome, so black chrome. I can have like a black chrome trim, which, you know, looks a bit darker. I think it looks a little bit better, a little bit darker, right? but I think it was having a little bit of lighting issues with the body pieces having like the rear bumper having the dark chrome trim in BeamNG.Drive. So if it fixes it, great. If not, it's not a huge deal. Just for like the rear bumper just goes green for some reason, but that's fine. Just at some angles too, not at all the angles, just at some. So it's fine. So anyways, guys, so yeah, the car is very much, so the actual weight distribution is 57 front, 43 rear, which is as good as most cars from the 1970s, as good as a performance car at least, if not better. Redline is just terribly low. It's a big engine. What do you expect? So the SuperCoupe Bandit 427 is now complete, but before we actually take the vehicle into BeamNG.Drive to see how it performs against the competition, we are going to end off the video. Yes, in the next video, we are going to compete head-to-head against Canadian Steel's vehicle to see who is the best muscle car, I guess, of all time. I don't know. So tune in next time, guys, for the awesome race. I'm going to have 2 side-by-side races going myself, probably, or something like that. It's going to be a really cool video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to leave a comment down below for ideas for more cars for me to make. I'm always looking for more ideas, guys, and yours could be next. If you want to leave a like as well or subscribe, that would be much appreciated too. And again, guys, big shout out to Canadian Steel. Make sure to check out his channel and subscribe. So thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.